Jason Aldean has sold a lot of records, but he's far from popular. Despite being one of the highest paid country music stars around, he might just be the most hated man in all of country music. And if you add up all the receipts, it's not exactly a mystery how he found himself in this position. For starters, there's the glaring fact that he cheated on his wife, which is a far cry from the way he presented himself publicly. In September 2012, Jason had the nerve to appear on the cover of People's magazine and present himself as a devoted husband to his then-wife, Jessica. He said that he loved his family and being a devoted dad, and the tickle fights with his daughters before bed were his favorite part of the day. But 2 months later, the world got to see a very different side of him. It turned out that his favorite part of the day was probably being with Brittany Kirk. Jason got caught and photographed kissing Brittany at a bar. The incident was so scandalous with country fans that Brittany had to delete her Twitter account. Jason eventually took some accountability for his actions, but it seemed like he only did it because he was caught red-handed. He tried to put a spin on the narrative and said that despite kissing Brittany, everything was all good at home with his family. He said that everything in his home life was okay. But once again, the world got some different news very soon when Jason and his wife filed for divorce just a few months later. And to nobody's surprise, it turned out Jason had been having an affair with Brittany the whole time. Brittany and Jason even got married in 2015 and had a baby in 2017. But the fact that there was obviously some very serious feelings going on and his marriage was far from okay while he was lying about it put a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And Jason's still struggling to get out of the shadow of that scandal to this day. But Jason's checkered past goes so much deeper than that one major incident. He also had some things to say about female country music stars that were so terrible that it almost sounded like someone said them 70 years ago. Not too long after the Britney scandal surfaced, he was talking to the Washington Post. He said that often when women sang in country music, he couldn't tell the difference between them. Apparently, they all sounded the same to him. This was obviously totally uncalled for and a huge slap in the face to all the extraordinarily talented female country singers out there. But what was even more embarrassing about that comment was that many people pointed out that Jason's genre of bro country music kind of all sounded the same too. A lot of times when someone makes an accusation, they're really just making a confession about themselves. Jason and many of the other bro country artists hire the same writers who use the same lyrics and themes over and over again, creating a safe genre that will always sell well but lacks any kind of real identity or personality between the artists. So, based on what a lot of people had to say about his comments, Jason is really the last guy who should be saying anything about other artists sounding alike, because Jason is pretty much the poster boy for bro country. A lot of country artists don't appreciate how this new genre stomps out tradition and seems to favor empty partying lyrics instead of the honest, soul-enriching content that made the country genre popular in the first place. Kenny Chesney, a country legend, made this clear when he said that if you turn on country music radio and there's a song about a woman, you can bet that she's going to be in cutoffs, drinking on a tailgate, and being objectified by some guy singing about partying. That's not exactly a great message for young men and women to be processing, and a lot of that popularity is due to Jason's massive success in the genre. Jason has shunned the bro country label, but many people still feel like it fits him pretty well. Jason's songs like Johnny Cash and Take a Ride With You portray a woman as passive creatures who idly wait for their Prince Charming on a farm somewhere. And if the women in his songs aren't perfectly innocent, they're often on the other end of the spectrum. Simply put, he doesn't seem to ever sing about women in a real and authentic way. What makes all this even worse is that Jason doesn't even write these songs himself. If you look at the writing credits on his albums, the overwhelming majority of his work is singing songs that have been previously recorded by other people, or singing lyrics written by other songwriters, which, again, explains how Jason is in the bro country genre, since he's just hiring the hit makers who write about the same stuff over and over again. A lot of these songs are just the same words arranged in different ways, but a lot of people still eat it up. So when Jason tries to pass himself off as an authentic artist of any kind, it all just seems to kind of fall apart. And just like his affair, people don't like being lied to. He even told Rolling Stones in an interview that he's not embarrassed to chase trends to be as successful as possible. Maybe Jason should try being embarrassed for once in a while. It could be good for his image. But the story of why nobody likes Jason Aldean doesn't end there. One of the worst and most unforgivable things he did was dress up in blackface as Lil Wayne for Halloween. You'd think that it was a stupid and offensive thing that he did in the late 90s, or even in the early 2000s when people still should have known better, but at least it was still a while ago. Well, the truth is, he did it in 2015, which is pretty insane. To think that he assumed that it was in any way okay to be doing blackface for a Halloween costume in 2015. When he was asked about it, instead of admitting that it was shameful and wrong, he just said that he never meant to offend anyone. He said that the thought that it was racist never crossed his mind, but his ties to racism go even deeper. It seems that Jason has no issue wearing the Confederate flag on his clothing. clothing. A lot of people obviously take issue with this, but so far Jason has been refusing to comment on the flag, saying he didn't want to get into politics. He also started doing business with the Robertson family from Duck Dynasty and created a whole deer hunting line after the Robertsons expressed seriously hateful views on the LGBTQ community. I guess hunting deer and making cash is more important than avoiding association with known bigots. On top of all this, Jason also brags about not reading books because it's apparently so cool to not be smart. And he openly criticizes people who don't know when to keep their mouths shut, which, once again, seems kind of ironic. The reasons people don't like Jason go back to his messy divorce, but like I said, that's not the only thing that's rubbed people the wrong way. He's just said and done so many questionable and downright offensive things. It's honestly no wonder that so many people genuinely dislike him. What do you guys think? How do you feel about Jason? Do you think he'll ever redeem himself? Let me know in the comments below.